Hey, what's up guys? Michael Portman here. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a great day. And in this video, well, we're going to be getting into those results, those preliminary results in terms of the yes vote for end of life / euthanasia in New Zealand. It's going to be an emotional video. Let's get into it. So, in case you have been living under somewhat of a rock, if you are in New Zealand today, you probably have heard the results that broke this afternoon. The preliminary voting results are in from the two public referendums in the recent general election. They are in, and just very quickly, yes for euthanasia. New Zealand has voted yes in favour and no against recreational cannabis. So, very interesting. Now, I just want to point out one thing to start this video. I'm not going to be talking about cannabis in this video. So if you came to get my reactions of this, or you might have seen the video and you thought, oh, maybe he's going to talk about cannabis as well. All I'm going to say is that number one, I am surprised that did not go through, and, again, the New Zealand public have spoken on that one, so we'll leave it for another day. I want to talk about, and I want to talk to the disability community, because there are a lot of people right now who are feeling very sad, very frightened, I think, and a whole range of emotions. So I want to talk to you guys, but before we do that, let's just take a quick look at the news. This is by way of Radio New Zealand. Earlier today, the results were in, the preliminary results, a 65.2% vote in favour of end-of-life choice bill, and again, there was a no vote to cannabis. But some of the numbers here are quite staggering. So, 1 million, if I'm reading this right, 1,574,645 votes yes to euthanasia versus 815,829 no votes so far. So yes, that's a big number, particularly on the yes side. Now, so yeah, I'll put the link to that story down below. Obviously, this is a somewhat of a developing story as well, which is probably going to keep the social discussion for a while. My reaction to this, just before I sort of talk to my friends in this community, I would like to think we're friends. We're all human at the end of the day, even though we might disagree politically and on other things. But, for full disclosure, yes, I voted yes for this bill. As a disabled New Zealander, I voted yes on polling day, and, I stand by that 100%. Absolutely. I stood by it at the polls. I stood by it when I made my video, which you can see down below, where I kind of explained why. I tried to explain in the most transparent way. Sometimes I think when it comes to this discussion, you can be sitting there until you're blue in the face. I can be sitting here doing a 24-hour live stream, trying to justify the way I feel. I'm going to try and do that in 10 minutes today. I tried to do it in 10 minutes in that video, and I went over. It's a very personal thing, and, I think about my loved ones who have had terminal cancer, who have had, 6 or less months to live. I remember that what they were like in their final stages, and and all of that. And that was very much, I guess, the reality that I saw was a big part of my vote. Again, it's a personal vote, and if you think I'm a monster for voting yes, you click off this video and watch something else. Whatever, it's your life. Do what you like with it. Honestly, and there will probably be a lot of people who you can go join a group on Facebook who agree with what you say and won't challenge you on anything, and you can have a bit of a pity party with them today, and you'll feel better. So I'll just sit silent for a couple of minutes, for a couple of seconds, and you can click off the video. To those who are prepared to listen, and particularly to those in the disability community, I hear you. There's a lot of people today who are feeling, like I said earlier, sad, a wee bit disappointed, frightened, maybe. But I really think, and this maybe doesn't help the situation either, guys. But if we're gonna sit here and have an honest discussion, none of us should be surprised at this. And from here, I think it's time to get back to work. I might disagree with, I'm going to say, the likes of Huhana Hiki, Kylie Black, Claire Freeman, the late Raymond Mock, very public advocates who were against this bill. I disagree with them. I disagree with them 100%. But they're also human beings, guys. And, they'll be a bit angry today, as I would have been had the result gone the other way. But I think we need to talk about this collusion thing, and we need to talk about the disability sector and the support system, to which abuse is happening, to which coercion is happening at a degree that I don't think is quite recognised publicly yet. And that's not even mentioning those outside of the disability support system, many of which who are Māori, many of which who are Pacifica, who aren't accessing the system and are very vulnerable citizens. The commentary about disabled people being, some of New Zealand's most vulnerable, if not the most vulnerable of New Zealanders, is no joke. It's not a flashy word in a news article to make it sound good. It's the hardcore, downright reality of this. But that, and with that vulnerability, comes a high degree of coercion. I'm not for 1 second denying that coercion exists. But I think what we need to do now, and this doesn't take a rocket scientist, and it's probably happening already by people much smarter than myself. We need to really talk about that system, guys, and we need to talk about those outside the system, because God knows what's happening there. One of the biggest, let's just take euthanasia out of it for a minute. Let's talk about like physical and emotional abuse and sexual abuse. Do you know what some of the biggest drivers of that are? Poverty. Poverty is a massive driver of abuse in all forms. How many disabled New Zealanders do you think in New Zealand live close to or maybe on or over the poverty line? You know? And I think within if we're going to go back to talking about within the system, I can tell you firsthand that the system, the system builds people up to fail. It provides the support that is, for most people, for most disabled people, regardless of what type of disability you have, and regardless of what postcode you are in, the reality is this: the support that people are getting from the system that says it cares, the system that promises to leave nobody behind, the support, and I interview and talk to these people every week, the support that they get is just enough. If they're lucky, it is just enough. The majority of disabled people, when you ask them, will tell you that they need more. So, if we're talking about mental health, and we're talking about poverty, and we're talking about abuse, to me, the biggest abuser, we hear about support workers abusing their clients, we hear about NAST people, we hear about all sorts of stuff. But we don't hear enough about how the system acts as the vehicle for the abuse. The vehicle for abuse. So you know what, like, there's nothing I can say that is going to change people who disagree with me. Mind. Like, those who have been out there on the front lines, you've done a fantastic job. You have. And in my heart, you know what, I do feel for you today. I do. And, I can't say that any more genuinely than I just have. I do feel for you. I really do. You put in a ton of work. And you've done great work. And don't forget that either. Don't forget it. You've done great work, man. You've done great work. Man, if you could do half of that work in this other area with the same sort of gusto, you see, here's the thing. I saw more passion. I really did. I saw more passion, even though I disagree. I saw more passion and more gusto and more downright drive in this debate within the disability sector amongst some of its best advocates. Let's use that, guys. Let's use that. Let's come together. Can you imagine? I mean, we talk a lot about solutions. Let me give you a solution. How about we all come together? Seriously. How about we all come together? You, me, all of us. And we use that energy. To talk about the vehicle that is providing the abuse, that is providing the coercion. The end of life choice bill, in my view, is the end of the road. The end of the road. We need to talk about how we're getting there. We need to talk about why the coercion is happening, why the abuse is happening. We all know why it's happening. We all know how it's happening. Man, we know. We know it is not the end of life choice bill. We know that. Come on, guys. Let's use this, man. Let's use this right now as our fuel. Let's use it. Imagine. Here's the thing. Here is a thing. Imagine if we could change the system and have euthanasia. Imagine if we could have both. Can you imagine a world like that? That's my viewpoint. That's my reaction to today. I want to see a New Zealand where we can have the choice of end of life if we have a terminal illness where we lose all dignity at the end. Yeah, and guess what? We can have that, and we can have a disability support system that doesn't abuse its people, that doesn't provide the vehicle for abuse, and we can also have a system that proactively brings in those outside of it, who are a lot of Māori and Pacifica, who a lot of them are in the poverty line. And guess what happens when you're in the poverty line? Abuse. We could do this, New Zealand. I don't know how. All I know is that we can do it. I know in my absolute heart of hearts that we can do this. And I am asking you, I am actually pleading with you to use the energy, the anger, the sadness that you feel today. Let's come together and use it. We can do this, New Zealand. This has been Michael Pullman signing off. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, hit the bell for future videos, and we'll see you in the next one. And until then, stay safe. You need to stay safe, guys. Take a moment. And then let's get back to work, shall we?